One country, two systems is a good policy that must be upheld for a long time. Chinese President Xi Jinping said this just moments ago in Macau while attending a ceremony to mark the 25th anniversary of its return to the motherland. During the ceremony, a new Macau government was also inaugurated, led by Sam Fai, the sixth chief executive. Xi Jinping called on the new government to promote the appropriate diversification of the local economy, improve governance efficiency, build a platform for higher level opening up, and safeguard social harmony and stability. Now, 2 days ahead of the celebration, the Chinese president arrived in Macau and have had extensive in-depth exchanges with locals. He praised the Macau people for writing a quote-unquote new chapter in the successful implementation of the one country, two systems with Macau characteristics. So what exactly is one country, two systems with Macau characteristics? Has it benefited Macau people over the past 25 years? And under the current international situation, what's in store for the city as a time-honored bridge linking the West and the East? Welcome to a special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin, coming to you live from Beijing. I'm pleased to be joined from Moldova by Alexandr Svetlicinii, Professor of Law at University of Macau. From Hong Kong by Wang Professor of School of Law at City University of Hong Kong. From Beijing by Wan He or Wu Yunxi in Mandarin. She is a Macau citizen and a sophomore student majoring in international relations at Renmin University of China. I'm also pleased to be joined from Macau, where all the action is, by Lam Yok Feng or Lin Yu Feng in Mandarin, director of the Center for Macau Studies at the University of Macau. She was also a former member of Macau's Legislative Council. She was on site for the ceremony, and I'm joined on the line by Jose Carlos Matias, director of Macau Business Magazine. The warmest welcome to all of our guests. A very diversified lineup today. But a few sentences on the background of Macau for those who are not very familiar with this city. Now, since the return of the city from Portuguese rule in 1999, Macau has been governed as a special administrative region under the one country, two systems policy, which is a unique arrangement that allows it to maintain its capitalist system and way of life within socialist China. With the gaming industry developing in accordance with the law, Macau is now turning a world-class tourism and leisure center that offers new services, and major emerging economies are booming. Now, over the past 25 years, Macau's per capita GDP had more than quadrupled to around $70,000. Now, Forbes magazine listed Macau as the second richest place in the world, trailing only Luxembourg. And the annual number of visitors to the city of 700,000 has surged to more than 32 million from 7 million 25 years ago. Indeed, a pearl on the palm of the People's Republic of China, in the words of the Chinese president. Let me go to Lam in Macau first, because Lam, you just walked out of the ceremony as the ceremony just wrapped up. Share with us your freshest impression. What message stayed in your mind?
I think the most important message is that President Xi, he affirmed Macau's important role in the history of China and the world kind of globalization. And also, at this time, I think from his speech, he understands Macau very well. And so, like Macau's historical significance and also its future of being the stepping stone for the Western to come to China, and also as a platform to promote Chinese culture. I think today he used several phrases to describe how Macau was so important when the Westerner, they come here, and then Macau was the spot where those kind of 四书五经, those classical Chinese books were translated in Macau. And also Macau was the door when the Chinese, they understand the Western thought. So I think he understands Macau very well and used this historical significance to encourage us, people in Macau, that we can go further using well the significance of one country and two system, and also using the new platform policy, including the Sino-Portuguese platform for Macau, we can step further and go beyond, and so Macau can develop better in the future. So I think his message is very clear that we can become better using our historical significance and also the national policy for Macau, including one country and two systems.
Let me go to Jose Carlos Matias on the line. Jose, what is your impression? How is the atmosphere, for instance? And I noticed there are at least three places in the middle of the speech where people applauded, visibly. For instance, when he talked about improving people's livelihood, when he talked about young people, when he talked about rallying people who are supporters of the one country and two systems policy. What was your biggest impression?
Well, yes, just well noted, we could feel this sense of, I would say, inspirational message by President Xi Jinping was quite well received. It was pretty much a forward-looking speech address, of course, acknowledging the achievements over the past 25 years, and also, of course, acknowledging as well and recognizing some of the challenges. But to face those challenges, we have the points singled out by Xi Jinping and also the suggestions, so to say. And I would highlight, in line with what Professor Alexandr was mentioning, Macau's unique advantages as key assets, because the city now is set to embark on a path towards more meaningful, appropriate economic diversification. It does not come without some obstacles to meet these aims, and Xi Jinping was singling out the importance of making the most of our city's the city's features, and these are related, of course, also with our history and also with our deep connection with the Portuguese-speaking countries. Actually, I was talking with some friends from the Portuguese community and diplomats, and they were really, really very well impressed by the focus on enhancing Macau's role as a bridge between China and the Portuguese-speaking countries.
Mm-hmm. Please stay online. I'll come back to you in just a moment. I understand one of the key messages that went down really well with the audience on site was one surrounding young people. And today we have one of them with us, Wan Hei or Wu Yunxi in Mandarin. Yunxi, you are a student now on the mainland in Beijing with the People's University of China. You were born in Macau after its return to the motherland 25 years ago. What has been your experience since then?
I think since 2012, the overall unemployment rate has remained below 2%, and the median monthly income of the total employed population has increased from 4,920 patakas in 1999 to 17,005 patakas in 2023. What I can feel more impressive is the city appearance of Macau is getting better and better. I'm now a sophomore in Beijing, and I return to Macau on the holiday. I will see the construction of the new reclamation area and the public housing. The government is striving to achieve the home ownership scheme, in addition to new land and new houses. You will also see a 5-star hotel or large integrated resorts. And also, we can provide a good foundation for the development of Macau tourism industry. And I'm always amazed by the changes in the urban landscape of Macau.
Well, you're one of the pioneers, shall I say, among Macau students to come to the mainland to live and study. You are studying international relations, but even during your high school years, you led a group of over 20 Macau high school students on a visit to Hengqin, to Zhuhai and Guangzhou in neighboring Guangdong provinces. How do you look at the Greater Bay Area development, and what kind of opportunities are you looking for a person like you, majoring in international relations? What do you plan to do, for instance, in the future? Do you plan to stay in Beijing in the future and look for a job in a related field, or you plan to go back to the Greater Bay Area and closer to your home, Macau?
Yeah, I'm now in Beijing, but I think Greater Bay Area there will be more opportunities in the future. When I was the vice chairman of the General Association of Chinese Students of Macau, I led the team to visit the Macau Federation of Neighborhood Association Guangdong office and also the Guangdong Students Federation. Through the introductions and the communication, we had a deeper understanding of the platforms of Greater Bay areas and also the youth employment policies of the Greater Bay Area, and also the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area and the demonstration zone in deep cooperation in Hengqin are both the platforms with diversified industrials and potentials. The integration of Macau, Guangdong, and Hong Kong will provide more possibilities for the young people to study, find jobs, start a business, or to live in the Greater Bay Area. Therefore, the youth of Greater Bay Area should always equip themselves and actively integrate into the overall situation of national development and seize their opportunity of air.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Wu Yunxi, and I hope you will find your place for the future where you can put your talents to the best display. Thank you very much for those answers. I would like to go to Professor Svetlicinii for your insights. You have been teaching in the University of Macau, but you're now in Moldova. Help us understand this, the story, and what is your observation of the development of that city, and especially the idea of one country, two systems with the Macau characteristics. For people who are not very familiar with the city, what does that mean? Okay, we're not hearing you. You have to unmute yourself, Professor Svetlicinii.
Right.
Yeah.
So for my personal story, I can refer to what my colleague has just said earlier, that Macau is a stepping stone between the West and China. So it has been also a stepping stone for me because I was quite interested in China, its economic development, its effect on international law, and Macau have been actually a professional home for me, where at the University of Macau I have been able to realize my aspirations doing research on these subjects. So this metaphor of Macau being a stepping stone between China and the West, or China and the world, actually worked very well for me. As for understanding of one country, two systems, maybe I bring my lawyers or legal academics perspective on this issue, because so for one country means that Macau is not a sovereign actor. It is part of a larger country, a sovereign actor, People's Republic of China, and so it does in its international affairs and contacts with the world, right? So we know that China is responsible for international affairs of Macau, but being a part of one country, it also managed to benefit tremendously from national industrial programs like a Belt and Road Initiative or a Greater Bay Area project. So that these are the benefits that we can see of being part of one country. The two systems element, of course, means the autonomy and the local decision making in the economic, legal, social sphere. Here I can mention that Macau managed to preserve its low tax status. It maintained free movement of capital and goods, right? Macau, as a separate customs territory, have been member of the WTO and keep an open trade with other nations. So all these are the examples of the benefits and opportunities that the two systems part accords to the region.
Let's come back to that in just a moment. I'm told that Professor Wang Jiangyu is now ready. Professor Wang, you are based in Hong Kong. Compared to the city of Hong Kong, Macau's advantages and challenges are different, but it seems that the comparison is also very obvious that Macau is considered to be a very successful case of the one country, two systems. How do you compare the implementation of the two different systems, and why is Macau shining a bit brighter for the time being than the city you're in?
Thank you very much, Liu Xin, for inviting me. I agree. Macau is a very successful example of that can showcase the power of the one country, two system. It does have. It is one of the richest economies in the world in terms of GDP per capita. Even though it is it's a densely populated society, it has a very harmonious relationship with the with the central government, and it has a very kind of a cohesive identity and very successful social policies. And that compared with Hong Kong, we face a lot of challenges. Hong Kong is a much larger economy, many times that of Macau, and Hong Kong has a very Hong Kong is a multicultural society and is very internationalized, and Hong Kong is subject to external influences, and compared with Macau as a smaller economy, which is easy to govern, so the governance in Hong Kong is a bit more difficult. I think from Hong Kong, we look at Macau from a very positive lens, and Macau is a very important partner of Hong Kong, and Macau and Hong Kong has been sister cities for so many years, and so are the only two special administrative regions in the People's Republic of China. So we are inspired by each other's success, and our economies complement each other. So the Macau's success is a good example for us, and we will look at Macau to try to see whether we can get positive lessons.
Ms. Lam, let me go back to you as a former Legislative Council member. What was your experience, your understanding of the two systems part? And today I picked up this sentence from President Xi when he, of course, emphasized the one country as the fundamental base of the system, but he also stressed that the two systems part should be optimized, should be best used, and the differences between the two systems should be fully respected, so that the high degree of autonomy can be fully respected. In practice, has that been the case? And do you see his words having far-reaching consequences for the people who may be doubting whether China is serious to keep the two systems parts in practice?
Actually, I can kind of maybe let me put in this way. I agree that you just point out that I think President Xi's message is trying to reaffirm what is one country and two systems and why it is important for Macau. And I think from my own experience, and especially we have just talking about the situation in Hong Kong, I think that how Macau implement one country and two systems, that on one hand, we did not question a lot about what is one country. I think Macau has the population is much smaller, and historically we have closer relationship with we call mainland China, and also Macau has a kind of a very strong patriotic atmosphere, and so you can see a lot of people will saying that being patriot is it is like a common sense in Macau, and so this is one thing. So over the time when we are implementing the two systems, I think people in Macau also are trying very hard to compromise or to kind of understand, to integrate themselves into the country. And so we have less question about what is one country, but we have more questions about how we can utilize the two systems. So, for example, when we're talking about capitalism, I think the case of Macau and Hong Kong is like Hong Kong is a much more mature capitalism market, and so they have their own system. But the time when we return to the motherland, and the capitalism here is a bit kind of different. So, for example, we have a lot of monopolies, and the gaming was operating by one company, and so I think Macau government, as a government, we try to use this two system to make capitalism become a better tool for the development for Macau. So, for example, we break the monopoly of gaming just right after the handover, and we have some other cases in some other industries as well. And so, I think that go back to President Xi's kind of speech today. I think that understand how we respect one country. Okay, we should be loyal to the country. Okay, love the country, right? And at the same time, understand what is the two systems and what kind of tool we can use from the two system. I think that would be very important. And I think what Macau has been doing is like making capitalism, the two system is optimal, optimal function to develop Macau.
Yeah, let's take a look at some numbers which are really quite important and related to what Lam was just talking about. Macau, of course, was known as the world's top gambling hub, but it has been trying to diversify its economy. I understand non-gambling sectors accounted for 60% of Macau's GDP last year. That's a 14% increase from 5 years ago. And now fiscal revenue from gambling dropped from 80% to 65% during the same period of time. Carlos, Jose Carlos, if you're still with us, where does Macau's revenue come from increasingly now, and what's the challenge going forward?
Well, as you were mentioning, diversification is the way forward. How to get it right is not very easy in terms of achieving results overnight. It is a long-term process which is taking shape. And this is the big challenge. Well, we can see in terms of the emerging sectors. Well, this is based on the 1+4 strategy, where 1 is the existing gaming and tourism core industry, and the 4 the emerging sectors. They are modern finance, traditional Chinese medicine and big health, high technology, creative industries, and MICE. So some of these industries are moving faster than others, but I would say that financial services are gaining steam. You can see the share of the financial industry within Macau GDP increasing gradually, but of course we have also to make the most of the existing competitive edge that we have. So diversifying integrated tourism first, that's where we have our edge. Making it more entertainment-based, more family-friendly. This is something that is taking shape going on. We need to move in that direction with bolder moves, faster. And in this respect, President Xi Jinping was talking yesterday at the bank, but then again today on the importance of attracting top talent from all over the world. This is the key message which is shared by the international business communities in Macau, attracting also more FDI investment in the core industry, but also in the emerging industries, and a focus on openness, diversity, and inclusiveness. So this will take time. We also have to be realistic in terms of what we can achieve in the short term, but the existing gaming and integrated resort companies, players, which are of paramount importance, they are tasked with this mission of assisting and promoting diversification during their 10-year concession period, which began early last year.
Okay. Well, Professor Svetlicinii, I got 5 minutes left. I want to give one question to Alexandr and one question to Professor Wang in Hong Kong. Going forward, what's the biggest challenge really for the economy of Macau or the livelihood of Macau? Because people pay a lot of attention to that. Professor Svetlicinii.
So when we speak about challenges, I would first mention the two types of scarcities that we have in Macau. So one is the scarcity of land and for different industrial activities and for expansion. And second is scarcity of the highly professional talents. And these are the two challenges that Macau will have to overcome, especially if these strategies that our colleague has mentioned by developing industries different than tourism will succeed, this 1+4 strategy. And in this regard, we have an opportunity offered within the Greater Bay Area project, which is an in-depth cooperation zone between Macau and Hengqin, because it has offered Macau a much-needed land for industrial expansion, for building different facilities that would support these emerging industries, and also for the place where Macau residents, Chinese mainland residents, and also foreign residents will be able to live and work. Yeah, so certainly we have challenges, but these are some opportunities that Macau should fully utilize, in my opinion.
Let me go to Professor Wang in Hong Kong. I understand during the first 11 months of this year, foreign trade of the Greater Bay Area, including Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau, rose by 10%. That's almost doubling the national average. And the amount accounts for 1/5 of the nation's total. So together, what can Hong Kong and Macau do to overcome their common challenges?
The Great Bay Area, as you mentioned, is truly a wonderful and grandiose project, and it put together the resources of of China's richest regions, and this richest region, the Great Bay Area, is actually a place with the fusion of both capitalist and socialist influences, and so it can most optimally utilize the economic resources. And that's why we have a great hope for the future of the Great Bay Area, including Hong Kong, Macau, and Guangdong. And we for all the three sub-regions, we are all very. I think the Great Bay Area project is a top priority. We are all working very hard to achieve true integration, to make it one of the most developed, most innovative, and most advanced area in the world. And I myself, I'm not based in Macau, but I ran a research project on Hong Kong, Macau, and Guangdong, the Great Bay Area, the legal and the institutional convergence in these three areas. I visit Macau quite a lot, and I do have a great. I'm actually very optimistic about Macau's future. Even though diversification has been regarded as a very important issue, if not a top priority. But Macau is relatively a small market, has a smaller population, so it can afford to focus on one or two very successful areas in which it has comparative advantage.
Okay.
And Hong Kong
we have to leave it there. Time has gone out. Thank you so much to my guests, Alexandr Svetlicinii, Professor of Law at University of Macau, Wang Jiangyu, Professor of School of Law at City University of Hong Kong, and Wan Hui, who has already gone offline, Lam Yuk Fong, a Director of the Center for Macau Studies at the University of Macau, Jose Carlos Matias, Director of Macau Business Magazine, on the line. With that, we come to the end of this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin, coming to you live from Beijing. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and X using the handle Liu Xin in Beijing. On behalf of the whole team, thank you for watching. You've got the point.